Welcome back. In the last session we had introduced the concept of retailing. We had discussed a few elements of retailing and the context of retailing in India. In this session we are going to specifically look at what is the role of retailer in marketing and how retailer acts as a link between the producer or the manufacturer and the consumer. If you remember, in the last session we had looked into how the manufacturer uses a channel to reach to the consumers in different parts of the country or in different parts of the world, and this channel ends towards the consumer and or the place or the last partner towards the consumer side is what the retailer is. So there are a lot of activities that retailers do and a lot of value that retailers add to the manufacturers' marketing activities. So we will try to establish or try to evaluate each of them in some detail. Now the first one is, like I mentioned in the previous session as well, the retailer is providing value to the marketer by creating an efficient division of distribution activities. Now when it comes to manufacturing of products, it happens in probably a manufacturing plant somewhere that the manufacturer owns it. Once the manufacturer has created all of these products, say for example we took the example of soaps in the last class. Once soaps have been manufactured, the soap has to be taken and provided to consumers. So there is going to be a lot of activities that have to be done from the manufacturing plant all the way to the store that is nearby to the consumer. So all of these different activities have to be divided by different entities who are part of the entire channel, and retailer takes care of the last mile operations and making sure that they do their part of the distribution activities efficiently, because they have the expertise and they have the kind of retail assets that are required to make sure that the product is available at a convenient location to the customer and available in a format that the consumer can easily access them. So that is the first element or the first important aspect of where retailers add value to the marketing. The second one is called bulk breaking. Now if you see, many a times manufacturers produce products in large quantities, but the consumer does not want these products to be consumed in large quantities. Say for example, if you are talking about a petroleum company, for example, consumers generally consume petrol in a few liters at a time. Say for example, if you are a two-wheeler consumer, you might be consuming petrol for 1 liter, 2 liter, 3 liters, etc. If you are a four-wheeler consumer, you might be consuming 10 liters, 15 liters or 20 liters at a time. But when it comes to a manufacturer or a petroleum company, they are producing this in large bulk quantities and they are shipping it out in large bulk quantities. So one petroleum tanker could be somewhere between 10,000 to 15,000 liters. Now it is not efficient for the manufacturer to be shipping all of these things in small quantities which are convenient for the customer's consumption. So that is where the retailer is the person who breaks this bulk and provides consumers with the kind of quantity that they want. Say for example, if you take the case of biscuits. Now biscuits might be manufactured in small quantities, but these small quantities are difficult to be accounted for and difficult to be managed at the manufacturer's end. And even in the logistics operations, if you are going to pack each of these biscuit packets separately and then send it to the consumer, it becomes a very difficult activity to do. So that is why these products are manufactured and packed in large quantities and shipped out to the retailer. The retailer is the one who takes these large quantities and breaks it down into smaller quantities which the consumer wants to consume it. So that is where bulk breaking is another activity that the retailer does in ensuring that consumers have convenience and consumers find value in that. Now the third aspect of how retailers add value to marketing is wherein they provide consumers with a large assortment or a large variety of products. Now many a times consumers want to make purchase decisions after comparing different products and after looking in what value is available in multiple products. If you are only giving consumers with one option, most likely the consumer is not going to take a purchase decision immediately. So providing assortment is something that is extremely critical when it comes to the consumer, and retailers are the one who are providing assortment. So retailer might procure products from multiple competitors and they provide all of these products in one store so that consumers can come and compare all of these products and procure the products that they so likely want. The next element alongside the assortment part is where you are having the opportunity of having different brands and different segment of products in the same store. You might find that there are different brands of products that are available in the same category. You might also find that there are different segments of consumers for which different manufacturers are making different products. If you, for example, if you consider cornflakes, there are different types of cornflakes that you will find. There are chocolate flavored cornflakes, there are cornflakes which are rich in nutrients for people who are going to the gyms, etc. There are cornflakes which are classic flavored, which are very plain cornflakes. Now all of these are available for different segment of customers. One could be for a segment of customers who are youngsters, who are kids, who like the chocolate flavor. There would be some other customers who are highly nutritional diet takers, who might be wanting something like a muesli, etc. Now a retailer is the person who brings all of these different products for different segments into one store and into one place where the customer can come and procure all of these products. Say for example, if you have multiple family members who fall into multiple segments of customers, you have one store that can cater to all of these requirements. Similarly, the retailer is the one who brings in multiple brands into one store and making sure that everything is available. So providing a lot of products where the customer can now compare all of these products and procure different brands and different segments, different products that are catering to different segments in one store is also value that retailers add. The next value that retailers add is by holding inventory. Now think about it, there are roughly around 55,000 different petrol bunks in the country, and every petrol bunk on an average might be holding between 10,000 to 15,000 liters of fuel on a given day. Now if you are going to take the amount of fuel that is held in the inventory of the retailers, it is going to be extremely big. Similarly, if you are thinking about any other product, there is a lot of inventory that is held by the retailer in the retail store or in the back end of the retail store, which otherwise would have been a nightmare for the manufacturer to hold, and it would create a warehousing challenge for the manufacturer. So holding inventory is also some kind of a valuable activity that the retailer does in the marketplace. Now again, holding inventory near to the consumer is extremely important because the consumer can have possession of all of these things immediately. The next element is where retailers often provide the consumer with a lot of services. Services, for example, if you are going out to the heart of the city and you want to shop in a location where you can also have your car parked, you can also have your children having something to do when you are shopping. You also have some opportunities where you are given credit facilities. You have opportunities where you have a customer sales representative taking care of a product issue in case you have certain constraints with the product, etc., etc. So a lot of these services are provided by the retailer, which otherwise would create a situation where the customer is clueless as to whom to contact and how to resolve an issue that the customer is facing. The next one is retailers in themselves can increase the value of products and services by either providing products and services at ease to the consumer, or providing products and services at a lower price to the consumer, or providing products and services in a bundle fashion that is going to add more value to you. So increasing of value to products and services is also important aspect that the retailer provides. And finally, many a times the retailer is the bridge between the consumer and the manufacturer. So a lot of data is captured on the consumer's preferences and on the consumer's consumption habits from the retail space. Say for example, every time you go to a retail store and every time you buy something, there is a bill that is generated. The bill is basically a record of all the products that you have consumed. So all of these consumption patterns can now be evaluated by the manufacturer or by the retailer themselves, and a lot of analytics can be employed to make sure that you can understand the consumer much more better, and by such understanding you can provide greater value to the consumer. So efficient division of distribution activities, bulk breaking, providing assortments, multi-brand and multi-segment products provided in one place, holding inventory, providing services, increasing the value of products and services, and the role of data and analytics are all elements which are extremely critical when it comes to the retailer's role in adding to the marketing function in the organization. So we had discussed about how retailers add value to the marketing function of the manufacturer. Now we are going to discuss about how retailers add value and utility to consumers. There are 4 forms of utility that we generally discuss in economic theory. These include the form utility, the time utility, the place utility, and possession utility. Now I'll start off with utility and then we will get into other types of value that the retailer adds to consumers. Now each of these forms of or each of these utilities are exceptionally important when it comes to the retailer's operations, and they are somewhere or the other things that the retailer provides to consumers. Now when I discussed about the bulk breaking activities when it came to adding value to the marketing function of a manufacturer, this is the element where form utility is also provided to consumer. This basically talks about the product form and what form does the consumer want it, and whether the retailer is providing such utility to the consumer. Now many times when manufacturer, like I told you in the last segment, Many a times when the manufacturer is manufacturing these products and shipping it out to the retail stores, they are in large quantities or in bulk, and the retailer is the one who is actually breaking this bulk and providing the product in the quantities and in the forms that the consumer wants, and that is where the retailer adds form utility when it comes to the consumer value. The second one is time utility. Time utility is the utility that is derived from saving time for the consumer. Many times you would have found that retail operations or retailers are operating in such a format that they are conveniently positioned themselves so that the consumer can have these products and services available at the minimum time that they have to spend for it. So let it be the kirana store near your house which gives you a time utility wherein you can have the product available at any given point of time, or let it be the online retail channel which provides you the ability of shopping any time of the day, may it be even midnight, is where retailers add time utility to you. The next one is place utility. Place utility is where you add value by providing the product or the value to the consumer with at a place of his or her choice, and that is where many times retail stores are located in strategic places or strategic locations in the marketplace, wherein the consumer does not have to travel very extensively, or the consumer does not have to face a lot of inconvenience when it comes to going for shopping of products and services. And the last one is possession utility. Now this is where retailers actually add a lot of value to consumers, wherein the consumers are able to have possession of the product immediately, especially when it comes to the offline traditional brick and mortar stores. The consumer can have possession of the product immediately without having to wait for the product, or without having to actually not have the possession of the possession of the product. So this is these are the four types of utility that retailers add when it comes to the consumer's value creation. Now again, there are other elements that are important and worth consideration when we are talking about how retailers add value to consumers. One of the most important one is about information that is provided. Now consider, for example, if retailers are not in operation, the consumers will have a very hard time to find information regarding products and services. It is oftentimes the store manager or the salesperson in the store who provides you information when it comes to whether the product is good for you, whether the product has certain warranty, guarantee, etc., and what are the features of the product, how it compares with other products that are available in the marketplace, etc. So this information, if not provided by the retailer, is a difficult proposition for consumers to achieve, because many times there are only a few sources of information that the consumer can have. One of these sources of information is the marketer controlled sources like advertising, sales promotion, etc., etc., which are very limited when it comes to providing information. So that is where you always want information to be provided from the retailer standpoint, and that is one advantage that the retailer provides. In a traditional brick and mortar store, it might be the store manager or the salesperson who is providing you all the information. In an online format, it is the website or the marketplace that is providing you all this information. They also include a lot of customer experiences in the form of reviews, which are also exceptionally important when it comes to gathering information to make the product purchase. Convenience is again something that is provided by the retailers as value to customers. Say for example, you want to buy a product, but you want to compare this product with 10 other products. The retailer in a multi-brand format gives you the opportunity to compare all of these different products, and hence gives you a lot of convenience. Similarly, when we discuss about online retail, we discuss quite a few times about how online retail provides you greater convenience. The next element is competitive pricing. Many times you would have seen that retailers are fighting to capture the consumer's share of wallet, or the retailer wants the consumer to now come and buy the product from them rather than the competitive retail store. So hence they are able to provide competitive pricing in the marketplace. This is especially visible when it comes to the online versus offline retail scenario, wherein online retailers are capturing a lot of customers attention and customers interest in buying products from the online space by providing competitive pricing. Retailers oftentimes are able to customize products for the specific customer's requirement. They are able to provide customer service to the customer, which might not be possible to be provided in a lot of product categories. Say for example, when it comes to a lot of products wherein the manufacturer does not have a customer service vision or a customer service department that you can reach out to, it is oftentimes the retailer who acts as the bridge between the manufacturer and the customer and provides the customer service to the customer. Again, retailers also act in ways wherein you can do targeted marketing by retailers. So, a lot of below the line activities which are done in the retail space are again things that add value to customers, wherein specific sales promotion activities, specific events are done, you will have a lot of competitions are done, you might have a lot of benefits and offers that are provided specifically by the retailers. So, such kinds of activities are possible in the retail space. And again, you have a lot of new forms of specialization and a lot of new form of niche stores that are coming up, which are providing more and more value when it comes to the consumers requirement in the retail space. So, the retailing operation provides value to both the manufacturer, as we discussed in the previous segment, and it also provides to the consumer a lot of value, like we discussed in this segment. In the coming segments, we will discuss other elements of importance in the retailing space. Okay. So, in the first segment of this session, we discussed about how retailers add value to the manufacturer. In the second segment, we discussed about how retailers add value to consumers. In the third segment, we are going to discuss about a few characteristics of retail operations or a few characteristics of retail stores. Now, the first element of the characteristics of retail stores. Now, again, when I discuss the characteristics of retail stores, these are generalized characteristics that we can identify from retail stores. I don't mean to say that all retail stores will have all of these characteristics as we mentioned in this module, but more or less you will find that such kinds of characteristics are shared across many of the retailers out there. The first element is that order sizes in retail stores tend to be small, but there are going to be high volumes, or the order sizes, although they are going to be small, but they are going to be many. Because many times if you come and compare say FMCG goods or other grocery products, you will find that consumers don't generally buy them in bulk, but consumers buy them as and when they have convenience. So, you might have your family buying products for a monthly requirement or once in 2 weeks, etc. If you go to some rural parts of the country, you will find that consumers buy products for a day's requirement or for 2 days in a go. So, order sizes are generally considered to be, or generally tend to be small, but you will also find that a lot of consumers want such products, because if you are talking about FMCG products, then there is no consumer who does not have a requirement or does not have a reason to buy FMCG products. So, you will have large number of such small orders that are coming to the retailer. So, that is why order sizes tend to be small, but there are going to be large number of customers who you have to cater to. So, that is one characteristic of retail. This is important because now you have to carry a lot of products which can be available to cater to the large volume of consumers who come to you. At the same time, many of these products are going to be carried in smaller sizes, so there is going to be a lot of effort that you have to put in making sure that the store inventory and merchandising is done properly, so that you can cater to the requirements in the market. The next thing is that a retail store caters generally to a wide variety of customers. Remember in the first session we had discussed about marketing, and we had discussed about the concept of segmentation, targeting and positioning. Now, segmentation was where we said that a manufacturer of the product or a marketer of the product can actually take a heterogeneous market and break it down into homogeneous groups. And once you have done that, it is possible that you can create value for just this one group of customers. But when it comes to a retailer, the retailer does not always have the same liberty when it comes to catering to customers, because there are specialized retailers of course who cater to only one specific segment, but in many cases retailers are catering to many different segments at one time, because they carry products that are going to be appealing to different segments. Say for example, if you go to any of the organized retail stores, say for example if you are going to a more store, you might find that there are products in one category that are going to be appealing for a high income group of customers. At the same time, there will be products which are available at a lower price, which is going to be catering to a low income category of people as well. Now, both of these customers have to be addressed, and both of these customers have to be satisfactorily serviced by the retailer in order to have the kind of revenues that they generate from the market. So, that is why the retailers generally have to cater to a wide variety of customers who have different requirements. So, that is why it becomes very important for you to understand the customer and then to have the kind of products that the customer is requiring for. Now, carrying forward this point that you are trying to cater to a large variety of customers, you will also have to carry a large assortment of goods. This means that you cannot just have one or two category of products and be a successful retail operation, especially when it comes to the fast moving consumer goods. You might need to have a large assortment of goods, wherein I mean that you might need to have a large different categories of products that you have to carry, and within each of these categories you might to have different variety of products that you are providing to customers. Say for example, if you go to an organized retail store, you will have different departments for snacks, department for hygiene related products, department for beauty related products, department for clothing related products, departments for footwears, department for fresh vegetables and fruits, departments for cereals, department for utensils, etc., etc., etc. Now, you can yourself think about the number of product categories that a retail store has to carry, and because of this, generally retailers are going to have to keep a large assortment of different goods, which in itself becomes a very complex decision. So, generally when you go to a retail store, there are two types of buying decisions that you can take, one of which is known as a contemplated purchase and the other is known as an impulse purchase. Now, many a times contemplated purchases are things that you decide that you have to buy from home and then go to a retail store. Now, this could be things like cereals, or this could be things like dal, or this could be things like soaps or shampoos, etc., which you know that you have exhausted at your house. So, hence you have to go to the retail store and buy them. So, you make a list of all these things. These are generally what are things that are known as contemplated purchases. But you might end up coming back home after the retail experience having bought a lot more of things than you actually wanted. So, a lot of such decisions that you take in the retail store are more impulse in nature, are things that are not necessarily planned ahead by the consumer, but the decision is taken at the retail store itself. In one of the studies that I had gone through, almost 35% of supermarket purchases were contemplated, while the remaining 65% of purchases were impulse in nature. So, in order to have, or the characteristic of the retail store is that many consumers who come to the store purchase products out of impulse. Now, in order for consumers to buy products out of impulse, one, the product should be visible, two, the product should be appealing, and the three, the entire atmosphere should be conducive enough that the customer now wants to pick up all these products and spend more time in the retail store, so that he or she can see a lot many more products and thereby increase the chances of picking up these products which otherwise a consumer might not be picking up. So, all of these are important elements when you are thinking about the visual merchandise of the store and making sure that the store can generate more revenues from the customer. Now, the next thing is how the retail store has to decide its own marketing mix. When we talk about marketing mix, we are talking about the kind of products that the retail store carries, the price of the general products that are carried in the retail store, the kind of promotion that is done by the retail store, etc., etc., and where the retail store is located. Many a times the retail store's marketing mix is going to be directly related to the target customers mix who you are trying to address to. Say for example, if you want high net worth individuals or affluent customers to come to you, then you will have to choose a category of products that are considered to be luxury products. You will have to choose a category of products which are at the higher end of the price segment in the category. You will have to consider choosing a location which is considered to be upscale and not something that is common for a lot of consumers, and you will have to have promotional strategies which are targeted to make sure that all of these customers find value in the product. So, hence the target customers demographic and the target customers requirements are going to define the kind of marketing mix that the retailer has to carry. So, that again is very critical, although you have a different variety of customers coming together, but specifically if you are targeting a group of customers or you are a niche retailer who is operating in one particular segment, you might want to choose marketing mix according to the kind of products that you are offering. The next element is about the people who work in the store. It is oftentimes very critical that you have the right kind of people who are extremely motivated to be manning the store, so that these people can have fulfilling engagements and provide great experiences to customers. And the second element is about the entire store display and the visual merchandise in the store, because this again is a very important factor when it comes to ensuring that the customer can see the product, customer can pick up the product that he or she wants, and then you can generate more revenues from the customer. So, availability and visibility are two strengths of most retail operations who are successful in the country. So, all of these are characteristics of retail stores. Again, like I mentioned you in the last session, when you go out to the retail store or when you go out to the mall next time, just make sure that you try to keep an eye out for observing all of these things and trying to understand what the retail store looks like and how the retail operations are like. So, for the retailer to generate value for the marketer, for value for the customer, and have certain characteristics, one important element is that the retailer has to manage relationships when it comes to managing customers. Oftentimes, if you are trying to look into a retailer's operation, the retailer is the person or the entity that acts as the bridge between a manufacturer and the customer. There is nobody else that you can actually reach out to when you are thinking about a soap manufacturer rather than the retailer who is selling you the soap. So, he becomes the face of the company which is now selling a lot of these different products. And this is where most of the retailers are now trying to have relationships with customers, which is again something that is exceptionally important in retaining customers. Now, why is retention of customers so critical? When it comes to retail operations, you hardly find customers who are loyal to a retail store. Customers either go to the same retail store because of the habit that they have, or customers go to the same retail store because of the value that they find there. But provided there is a retail store that is closer to your house, provided that a new retail store opens up in a better location in the market, customers might be willing to move to that retail store. So, loyalty is a very difficult thing to obtain in the retail location. So, that is why managing relationships and building an image of being a customer's or a reliable partner for the customer is exceptionally important in successful retail operations. And that is why retention and managing relationships are extremely important. Many retailers today use loyalty programs to manage relationships. So, when you go to many of the organized retail chains in India, you will find that there are loyalty cards that you will find, or they will ask you for your mobile number when you are checking out or going to the billing counter. So, many a time this information about the kind of purchases that you have made or the kind of products that you are wishing to consume are all part of the entire profile that they build for each customer. Now, all of this data is used, one, to understand what are your preferences, what kind of products are you consuming, what kind of products are consumed alongside some other products, so that bundling can be thought about, what kind of price promotions are you generally getting affected by. So, do you really think that you are going to pick up a product when it's 10% discount or 15% discount? So, such kinds of insight can be gathered by all of these data that is available there. On the other hand, you can also make sure that you incentivize the customer to keep coming back and keep purchasing from the same program. So, that is same stores, that is why you have loyalty programs wherein you can add a lot of loyalty based points, and all of these points can be redeemed at a later stage, wherein customers can be incentivized so that you can keep coming back, and every time you are coming back, I will give you some incentive so that there is reason for you to keep coming back to me rather than going to the competitor. Again, because of loyalty programs, you also get customers to participate in referral programs, participate in a lot of events, a lot of activities, a lot of competitions, wherein you can create more engagement when it comes to customer interactions. You also have a lot of communication that is possible when you have information about the customer and when you focus on relationships with customers. Say for example, if you have a promotion going on, you can have SMS campaigns that are sent out. Say for example, if you go to any of these apparel stores, they will ask you for your mobile number, they will ask you for some basic details of the customer towards the end of the purchase process when you go to the billing counter, and you will find that they run a very effective SMS campaign when it comes to promotions that are going on. So, the next time you are going, next time during Diwali, or next time during Christmas, or next time during Holi, you will find that there is a special discount that they announce, and you will get an SMS saying that if you are going to come to the store, you are going to get a 10% discount during this time, etc. So, that kind of a relationship is important, because that will enable that the customer is stuck to you for a longer duration of time rather than going to a competition. And many times it is very important to understand that acquiring new customers is a costly affair, and retaining customers is a much more cost effective method. So, hence customer relationship management programs are extremely critical when it comes to managing relationships. And it is also important because many a times such relationships create an image of you being a credible and reliable partner in the marketplace. So, hence retailers have value for the manufacturer, retailers have value for the customer, retailers have certain characteristics in themselves, and the value of relationships are all important elements that we discussed in this session. The next session we will come back and discuss about marketing channels per se, because I have spoken about marketing channels without explaining them in great detail. So, in the next session we will discuss about marketing channels, how channel management has to be done, what is multi-channel, and what is omni-channel retailing. So, we will discuss about all of these things in the next session. Thank you.